Welcome back, students. Let's continue with. Today we will study about rules for changing direct speech into indirect speech. What are the rules that we have to follow for changing direct speech to indirect speech in tense forms? Let's look at it one by one. Rule number 1. If the reporting verb is in the present or future tense, the verb in the reported speech is not changed at all. So, through an example you can well understand that. Direct speech, Bali says there is no ink in the ink pot. Students, when you are going to change it into an indirect speech, it will become Bali says that there is no ink in the ink pot. Here you can notice the reporting verb is in the present tense. So, the verb in the reported speech will not change at all. So, another example in the future we can take as, please notice the third example given as, Afzal will say dinner is ready. It is in direct speech. Students, when you are going to change it into indirect speech, it will become Afzal will say that dinner is ready. You have to notice that the reporting verb, where it is, if it is in the present or the future tense, then the verb in the reported speech is not going to change at all. Another example, if we take upon, like the teacher says the boy was lazy, it will become the teacher says that the boy was lazy. In these few examples, you have learnt that the reporting verb is in the present or future tense, then the verb in the reported speech is not changed at all. Rule number 2 now. If the reporting verb is in the past tense, the verb in the reported speech is also changed to the past tense. To work out this rule smoothly, there are some special rules related to it. We will discuss all the specific rules when you are going to introduce this reporting verb in the past tense, then the verb in the reported speech will be going to change to the past tense only. Let us see the first one. The simple present becomes the simple past. How? Look at the first example. The first example is as, Sita said Kamla works very hard. So, what is the rule that says you have to change the simple present to the simple past. So, it will be changed into indirect, it will become Sita said that Kamla worked very hard. The verb has changed from works to worked, that is from simple present to simple past. Let us understand the next rule, that is number 2. Here in this sub point, the present continuous becomes the past continuous. For examples, he said Raman is working hard. Is working is in the present continuous form. So, when you change this into the indirect, that is when you are changing it as per the rule, the present continuous to the past continuous, the sentence will change as, he said that Raman was working hard. Instead of is working hard, it has become was working hard. Now, let us look upon the third rule. The present perfect tense becomes the past perfect tense. Like example, Gopal said Hari has done his work. You can notice present perfect tense has done is a word as a verb in present perfect tense. So, the rule says you have to change the present perfect tense to the past perfect. So, what will you write? Gopal said that Hari, instead of has it will become had. So, Gopal said that Hari had done his work. Let us proceed to the next rule. Rule number 4, where you can see the word, that is we will be talking about the word modals. So, may is changed into might, can is changed into could. The modals also change during the conversion here. Like the example as, he said the boy may pass. So, you have to change the modal may from may into might. So, it will become he said that the boy might pass. Let us revise the points what we have discussed till now, that The first point you can notice, when the reporting verb is in the past tense, the tense inside the quotation marks changes into its corresponding past tense in indirect speech. When we take an example like he said, I am going to the market. So, remember, when the tense is in continuous form, it is in present continuous form, you have to change to its corresponding past continuous form. So, it will become he said that he was going to the market. In the other rule it is written, the simple present tense changes into the simple past tense. So, we had already studied about that. Let us take an example again. She said, I like to study. How will you change it? You will change this as she said that she liked to study. Another rule which we will revise, the present continuous tense changes into the past continuous. As we had discussed it earlier also, whenever you are changing the form from present continuous tense, it will change into the past continuous tense. They said, we are playing cricket. It is written in direct speech. When you change, it will become, they said that, are will become were. So, they were playing cricket. So, you have to use from the present continuous tense form to the past continuous tense form. Some more rules are as follows, that the simple past tense changes into the past perfect tense. So, students, whenever you are going to change in the direct change from the direct speech, that is the sentence is in simple past tense form, you have to change it into the past perfect tense. Like for example, they said we went to the mall. So, the verb you can notice it's went. So, what you need to do, you have to change this into the past perfect tense. So, it will become, they said that they had gone to the mall. And remember, you have to change the modals. The modals are also changed during conversion, like shall becomes should, will becomes would, can becomes could, may becomes might. Now, we will continue with the rules where we have discussed beforehand that if the reporting verb is in the past tense, then the verb should which is in the reported speech should change into the past tense. There are some more rules to be understood. So, the fifth rule is as follows, the simple past will become the past perfect. So, how will you do? When you take an example like Hari said, Ashok returned at noon. So, student, the word returned is in simple past form. So, you need to change it into the past perfect tense form. So, what will you write? Hari said that Ashok had returned at noon. Another point to be noted, that the past continuous becomes the past perfect continuous. Like in direct speech, he said, all were laughing at the teacher. So, students, when you change this past continuous form into the past perfect continuous, it will become, he said that all had been laughing at the teacher. Instead of were laughing, you have to change it into past perfect continuous, which will become as, he said that all had been laughing at the teacher. I have used had been laughing. Similarly, there is an exceptional rule in which you should know that if the reported speech contains some universal or habitual facts or habitual actions in direct speech, what you should do, then the simple present in the reported speech is not changed into the corresponding simple past, but remains unchanged. In your grammar book, it is mentioned that you can change either to the present tense or the past tense to reported, but you should know, when we state a universal truth or habitual action in direct speech, we only keep it. Remember students, the simple present in the reported speech is not at all changed into the corresponding simple past, but it remains unchanged. When we take this simple example in your book, the teacher said, honesty is the best policy. So, as you all know, we cannot change the quality. So, it remained unchanged. That is, the sentence will be, The teacher said that honesty is the best policy. But there are a few exceptions to these rules till now what we had all discussed. Tenses in the reported speech remains unchanged in some following situations. So when the reporting verb is in the present tense, like examples are, Salim says, I will fly the plane using the autopilot. You can notice the reporting verb is in the present tense. Okay. So when you will change it into indirect speech, it becomes Salim says that he will fly the plane using the autopilot. Then when the reporting verb is in the present tense, and so therefore in some situations it remains unchanged. Another point to be noted, when the reported speech describes an ongoing action, that action is going on, which is still continued at the time the speech is reported. Like for an example, I said Ramesh works in Shimla. So when you change this particular sentence into indirect speech, it becomes I said that Ramesh works in Shimla. It is understood because Ramesh still works in Shimla. Another situation, like when the reported speech contains a clause that refers to a period of time. Period of time means about a particular time. Either it's childhood or a person has grown up, he has become an adult. Like for example, Mazhar said to Meera, when I was young, I often went to the beach. It's the sentence given in direct speech. When you change it into the indirect speech, it becomes Mazhar told Meera that he often went to the beach when he was young. Last point to be noted, that when the past perfect tense is being used in some sentences, in some situations, like he said, I had gone to the park. So this sentence, when you are changing this part, this sentence into indirect speech, it becomes he said that he had gone to the park. Only you can see the pronouns has changed and rest of the part has remained unchanged. So there are some situations where the tenses in the reported speech remains unchanged. Students, please go through the chapter carefully and revise the different tense forms, different rules of changing tense forms. I will be giving you the answers very soon. Start preparing for your final exams. Work hard, complete your work. Thank you, students.